Hello, this is Pupunup, and this is my first game developer interview for 2017. It's been a while since I've done one, and I'm really excited for the guest that we have today. It's a game called Sidonia or Xydonia?
Xydonia.
Xydonia. And the developers are Breaking Bytes Games. They're from Italy, and so yeah, it's a horizontal shmup, which I played a lot when I was a kid. So that's why I'm very excited to talk about it. And I grew up basically on shmups. Um, I think let's start off with an icebreaker. So I have Luca, which is the audio guy, right?
Yes, hello everyone.
And Dario, which is mostly game designing and programming.
Yes, I'm Dario, the main programmer and the only one, the only coder of the game.
Right. And it's a 3-man studio. They are the artists basically can't make it today. So icebreaker time. What have you guys been playing recently? Do you guys even have time to play any video games?
Okay. Do you mean today?
Like recently, like
during our
a week
during,
ago, 2
during our,
weeks? Yeah.
I didn't receive the question very well.
Oh,
can you?
Okay. Okay, so have you guys been playing any video games in the past couple of weeks?
Yes, mostly shoot 'em ups. for
Is it for research?
Yeah, to study the genre and the mechanics.
Right.
Yeah, I've been playing like Rocket League and Rust. I'm kind of stuck on those two games,
Right.
basically.
So since your game is a shmup, I'm wondering what are your favorite shmups?
Talking about myself, my favorite shmup of all time, maybe it's the first R-Type, or the first two R game from the R-Type series. I think it's the perfect horizontal shoot 'em up, and since it's 30 years old, in 2017. It's a very old game, but I think it's the perfect blend of game design and pure fun. It's a very well-designed game, and I think it's still one of the best shoot 'em ups of all time. Then the Thunder Force series, and especially Thunder Force 4 for the Mega Drive,
right,
or the Sega Genesis as it's called in USA.
Yep.
And the Darius series, which is kind of ironically it's my name, because
right.
I'm called Dario, which can be easily translated to Darius. And
right.
Especially the Gaiden title, Darius Gaiden, the Darius Gaiden game for the arcade. That's my personal top 3, I think.
Nice. What about you, Luca?
I'm really not a shoot 'em up guy because I grew up with beat 'em ups more, but
right.
I really like the Thunder Force series as well. And
Thunder Force is super good. I love it a lot.
Yeah. You really can't hate that game, especially Thunder Force 4.
Right.
For the amazing music, at least. And I really like the Rising shoot 'em ups also. I really love the Rising styles, like games like the Daisakusen series or Battle Garaga and Bat Rider.
Right.
I really love the style and the music of those games.
I personally enjoyed, when I was a kid, I played a lot of the Genesis. I played Forgotten Worlds, the one where the two guys are just that one.
Yeah.
And
the Capcom game.
Yeah, and Whip Rush, I played a lot of that. And of course Thunder Force. Everybody played Thunder Force. Yeah, shmups were great. And I actually also played your demo before this interview. So I'll be putting the links in the description, all the links that you can get. So they have a demo up on itch.io and GameJolt. So the demo is basically an alpha, and it's like first 2 levels or something like that, right?
Yeah.
They are not still. They're still not completed. They are still work in progress, but yes, there are kind of the first 2 stages.
So
it's still an alpha build. So
right.
we made a lot of improvements since that build.
And I was in love. I'm not even kidding. When I played the demo, even if it's just an alpha build, it made me remember back all the classic shmups that I played back when I was a kid. So it's a damn good demo. I highly recommend anybody that's interested in this game to go and check it out. Seriously, it's really good.
And we are glad you liked it.
So we did icebreaker. So can you guys tell us a bit more about what is Xydonia? We know that it's a shmup, but is that who are your target audience? Are you hoping to get more of the old school players? Do you think Xydonia can get new people into shmups?
Okay. So when we started doing developing Xydonia, we did it mainly for ourselves.
Right.
I started the game with the graphic guy. Luca wasn't still in the
Yeah, I joined the team at a later time.
Right. And we started because we are big shooter fans, and we had a little problem finding really good horizontal shoot 'em ups at that time, which is 2013. So we started the first lines of code of the game are almost 4 years old. Right. So we started developing almost 4 years ago, and we didn't have a plan. So we just do it the game for the sake of it. We just like to try to make a shoot 'em up game. Then we showed the game at some parties, at some computer shows,
right,
in Italy,
right,
and we saw that it could be a full game. It could be transformed in a real commercial game.
Right.
So we struggled with the sorry for my English.
No
we struggled with the develop for some time, and then we decided to do a Kickstarter because we were doing mainly in our spare time, and the develop was really slow. Then the Kickstarter open the game to a new audience, which is mainly big shooter fans, hardcore shooter fans. We really didn't think of it as a target. We initially thought that it was a game for everyone, but we had to admit that our main audience are the hardcore shooter fans. So we are doing the game mainly for them. So we introduced some score system, some score mechanics to keep the game more interesting.
Can you talk a bit about how the different mechanics or systems in Xydonia compared to the other shmups or classic shmups?
Yes, we have the stages are not linear.
Right.
It's a path system which is kind of similar to Darius, the Darius series, But in the Darius series, you can choose your path. So you can complete a stage and then go into stage A or stage B. In Xydonia, you have to earn this possibility playing and getting high ranks or unlocking some skill. We call it skill points.
Right.
There are some hidden skill points in the game you can you can unlock, and then you can go to a stage or to another and expand the possibility to go in a stage or in another stage. You can unlock secret stages and you can killing the bosses. You can find some coins, let's call it this way, that you can use to unlock more weapons and more chips in a shop. Anyway, we are keeping this very fair because we don't want to get overpowered ships that you can unlock and then the game gets too easy. That's not fair for the hardcore gamers. So we are trying to balance the unlockable content with the fairness of the gameplay.
Right.
I don't know if I explain it well.
I think I understand. So basically, what you're saying is there will be different paths. You can choose. Yeah. So the level progression is not linear. So you can choose like different paths to different levels, basically. And when it comes to the upgrades and the skill points, it's there for giving the player a sense of progression, but not to be overpowered.
Yes. It's mainly for replayability.
Replayability, yeah.
We want to game to get quite a good amount of content. So. Right. It's not just 7 stages and the end. We want the player to keep playing Xydonia, unlocking things, trying new paths, getting new endings, because different paths will take to different endings, which will be also very nice to see because we are inspiring to the kind of endings you get in beat 'em ups, where every character in the game has its own storyline and its own reasons to get to the Xydonia planet. So at the end of the game, you see various endings, and most of them will be kind of funny, ironic, like in a beat 'em up. Think of a Street Fighter or Tekken series where you get funny endings or strange endings. We want to get that in our game because we really like that Japanese style of doing storylines. So I think it's nice to see that in a shoot 'em up.
So you mentioned Luca came in later, right? How did you guys?
Yes, exactly.
How did you guys meet Luca, or like how did you guys get Luca to join?
We met in a Facebook group. It's called VG Score Attack. It's an Italian video game music group.
Right.
And basically, I used to share my stuff on there. I do chiptune covers of video game music and non-video game music. And basically, Dario offered me to collaborate on the game after hearing some of my stuff, and I gladly accepted because I'm really a fan of the old school games. I grew up in the 16-bit era, so it really was a no-brainer to get involved in this project because the project was already in good shape, so I really liked it from the beginning, and I accepted immediately to collaborate with him.
Are you guys doing this full time?
We are trying, but
we're trying, yeah.
We are trying to do so.
Yeah, we have our own jobs, and we do this. We are trying to make this a full job, but at the moment we still have our own jobs. I work as a technician, and
I program software applications for other people, but I'm personally trying to be full time on Xydonia because the Kickstarter kind of helped us. It wasn't trivial, so we can't really quit other jobs, but we are getting funds, so we can continue the project, and we can work more on it.
So your Kickstarter was asking for, the goal was 20,000 euros, right?
Yes.
And you guys got basically 26,000 euros.
Yes, almost.
Yeah. And so I was just wondering, like, is that, how much can you survive on that? Like, how long can you survive on like 26,000 euros?
Not much, I think. More than it's not just for surviving. For surviving means that you do a Kickstarter.
Right.
You use a Kickstarter also to kind of test your game
Test the market,
to an audience, to a market. So we guaranteed the funds for kind of a year of work. We hope the game to be out in the first months of 2018. So it's kind of a 1 year to work on it.
So
it's not a great amount of money, but it's a kickstart. It's a kick to get serious about this game. So yes, we can call it's 1 year of surviving. After that, there will
January
be
2018. That's the launch date?
January, February, we don't know exactly the month, but in the first quarter of the year. So it can be January, it can be March.
So, but the original plan was October 2017, right?
Yes, but it's not
doable.
so easy to get that schedule, because we want the game to be really the game that we are dreaming. So we have to extend a little the release date, but to get the game that we want to bring to the people.
So something interesting caught my eye, because obviously this is a shmup, so your inspirations should be like the old school classic shmups like R-Type, Gradius, Darius. But you also mentioned that Spelunky was an inspiration. Is it mainly because of the non-linear path?
That and the fact that I think that Spelunky is one of the best design game of the last 15 years.
Right.
So we kind of really it's really good to inspire to good design games. So yeah, it's a game we played a lot. So in some sort of way, we try to inspire us to that kind of style and of design. And yes, and the non-linear stages, the kind of roguelite, let's call it that way, elements that we are putting in the game.
So, is there a specific example? Like maybe you were playing Spelunky one day and then you're like, okay, this specific thing that Spelunky does can also be done in Xydonia. Is there any examples like that, do you think? Or is just more of a general game
No, it's
design?
more of a general inspiration. I can
Right.
think of a single element that we played Spelunky and we said, okay, let's put in Xydonia. No, I think it's more a general inspiration. We like to inspire to good games. So I think
Right.
Spelunky is a wonderful game. It's really a game that I never stopped playing since it was released. So that this means that it's a very good game.
So I have a question for Luca because you're the music
Yep.
guy. So Xydonia got quite a bit of coverage. One of the things that got a lot of coverage was you guys are working with established Japanese composers, really popular guys, Shinji Hosoe, Keiichi Yonao, and as well as Ayako Saso and Yosuke Yasui.
Unfortunately, we didn't get them on board. We didn't get Saso and Yasui on board.
Right.
Was
Is it basically because of the
stretch we didn't
stretch
reach.
goal?
Yeah,
So you're working with Shinji Hosoe and Keiichi Yonao, right?
yeah.
So are you personally like talking with them, working with them?
We really aren't personally. We contacted the Shinji Hosoe
Scarlet Moon
via-
Productions?
Yeah, we contacted it because we set up the Kickstarter campaign with the help of Jason Napolitano, who is a PR guy, and I think he's the owner of Scarlet Production. He's the manager for Shinji Hosoe.
Right.
So we basically got to Hosoe through him. He proposed us to collaborate with Hosoe.
Right. So how is that? How does that work? How does the collaboration work? Like, what do you guys give? What do they give?
Basically, we just give him some examples and some some example of his old music he has done and the general mood we want to get into the game.
Right.
And so we're waiting for him to come up with a track.
Nice.
He'll do one track for the game.
Right. So I have a question about balancing now. So you mentioned about the power-ups and all that, right? Is it possible to play the game without upgrading anything?
Yes, it will be, and it should be. You
Right.
can act. Okay, that's an element that it's kind of present in Spelunky. Talking about the question before, in Spelunky, for example, if you are really good, you can play the game from the starting to the end without unlocking anything.
Right.
Yes, in Xydonia, the main characters and the main weapons are more than enough. Are the best one. Let's talk about. You don't have to unlock any weapon to get at the end of the game or at the end of the best path taking to the best ending. If you know the game very well, you can do it straight from the first play. But
Right.
you have to know the game. So we think that the progression, aside from the unlockables, which are more a factor for the guy who wants to unlock everything. So it's more from the player which wants to get 100% all achievements and stuff like that. But you can play all the game from the beginning to the best ending with the standard power-ups and standard players. There are 3 characters, and 3 sets of weapons.
Right.
Every character has its own options, which are really different one from another. You have maybe you saw it from the demo,
Right.
and there will be also 3 different sets of weapons. In the demo, there's just one. You get the first shot, the blue standard shot. You get the plasma green shot and the
Yes.
big slow bomb. But every player will have their set of weapons.
Right. Right.
So yes, you can get to the ending just from the first play, but you have to know the game. You have got to be really good. So we want for players to play, learn the stages, learn how to get the secrets, how to get to the best ending, and then play and play until they get it right. The game will be really difficult. Like in the maybe it's not in the demo, it's not so balanced, but in the future we want to get the game really a good difficulty curve. You start with some slow enemies, some slow bullets. You start nice and easy, and then the game really gets hard as you go in the stages, in the later stages. So you really learn to get good to the game. Since there are no saving during the main playthrough, you can save the game at stage 4. You have to play the game from stage 1 if you get game over.
Right. So how do you? I believe balancing is like one of the more tricky, difficult things to do in a game design, especially in a game like this. And so do you focus on like one thing? Do you focus on balancing what the player can do or what the enemies can do? Like how do you even start trying to balance something?
It's very tricky, as you said, and there isn't an exact formula. We do a lot of trial and error. We test things initially with our friends that we know that are really shmup maniacs. Then we will soon we will extend this to our backers.
Right.
Because there was a tier in the Kickstarter campaign. Yes, so sorry, where people can be beta and alpha testers.
Right.
So we will get feedback from other players because it's very difficult to balance everything on your own because you know perfectly the game.
Right.
So we make a lot of trial and error. We get a lot of feedback from the people that we can trust, that know shoot 'em up games, and also from people which don't know shoot 'em up games, because every feedback is important. We want the game to be fun from everyone, but challenging for the hardcore gamer.
Right.
And then we started started balancing things from the player, from the ships. We know the weapons, we know how they work, and then we get enemies that will challenge these weapons and these ships. So, but it's not an exact formula. Maybe from some enemies we thought. Okay, it will be nice, an enemy that does this pattern, because we know that the player can't do this, for example. But it's we can think of it as the other side. So we can think that the enemies can do a thing, so the player can do another thing. There's not an exact formula. We try to experiment things as we go by.
Right. And So I have a question about the visuals, because you have an option to make the game look like it's being played on an old CRT TV or CRT monitor. So there's two options, right? There's a CRT monitor filter and a CRT the curve to make it look like a curved screen. So
Yes.
Was that difficult to do? Did that take a long time to do?
I can answer I still didn't finish it.
Oh, okay.
How can I say it? I've upgraded that effect 1 week ago, so
Oh, okay.
yes, it's a tricky effect, but it's absolutely necessary to the game, because we want the retro feel to be perfectly experienced also from people which don't have a CRT.
Right.
And yes, we put a lot of effort in that effect. I put a lot of effort in that effect.
So basically, what I played in the alpha demo is now much better, is what you're saying?
No, not much better. It's more optimized.
More optimized, okay.
It's more optimized. It can run in a slower hardware. The curve of the screen is more refined.
Right.
Little touches, but very big improvements in the coding part of the effect.
Right. Okay. So, couple more questions. You guys used a website called Thunderclap, right?
Yes.
So Thunderclap is basically leveraging on other people's social media, correct?
Correct.
So did you feel that Thunderclap, because I've seen quite a lot of people using Thunderclap, especially when they have a Kickstarter campaign, they tend to run the Thunderclap campaign like a couple of weeks before their Kickstarter. So did you feel that Thunderclap did what you wanted it to do?
We can't really say how it influenced our campaign, but it surely get us a good critical mass of social posts in at the start of the campaign. We didn't really know if it's trivial. So it's necessary for everyone to do a Thunderclap page. I think it helped us, but I don't know if it's trivial. I think that having a good Kickstarter page is more trivial to get to the goal. Thunderclap is more of a social. How can I say it? It helps you reaching a critical mass of Facebook posts, people that say, "Oh, there is the Kickstarter campaign, let's go." But it's not really more than that, personally.
Right.
Having a good Kickstarter page, I think it's really way more important. Getting a good coverage in the websites, in the magazines, I think it's more important.
Right. So, Luca, a question for you.
Yes.
So you said you were not a shmup player before working on this game, right? When you were growing up.
Yeah, I haven't played much many shmups when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you feel that because of that, it was more challenging to design the sound for the game?
Not really. I work under various directives, and I didn't play a lot of shmups, but I listen to a lot of music, a lot of VGM. So I know what I have to do to make good soundtrack for this game.
Right, right. Did you play? Were you then playing shmups for like research purposes as well?
I listened to several Shmup soundtracks lately. Yeah, I'm doing my research.
Right. Okay, so just a couple more questions and I'll let you guys go.
Alright.
What did you feel was your most successful marketing effort? You actually feel that this marketing thing that you did actually converted people to be, like backers on your Kickstarter, for example.
I think it was more of a long-term work we did during the last year or two. We made sure our game was really known before launching the Kickstarter campaign. We visited a lot of forums, a lot of boards, and we tried to make a name for ourselves, to really show the game to hardcore Shmup fans and casual fans before launching the Kickstarter campaign.
How long did you start your marketing efforts before the Kickstarter campaign? 2 years, 1 year, 2 years?
1 year. 1 year
Yeah,
before.
about 1 year.
We released our first alpha kind of 1 year before the Kickstarter campaign, and the second alpha, which is the one you played.
Right.
Anyway, the word of mouth of the game before the Kickstarter, it wasn't really big as the coverage we got from the Kickstarter campaign. But we started, as Luca said, we started to get little by little a name, at least in the Shmup community.
Right, right.
Then the Kickstarter really opened us to all the audience. And I think that the other good marketing choice we did was the Shinji Ozui and the Keishino one.
Right.
It got that coverage in Japan, in Famitsu. It was really a surprise for us.
Nice, nice. And so my last question is, I know that there is quite a big movement in Europe, especially when it comes to promote more indie game developers. Like, there are a lot of programs by government providing funding. There are a lot of games conferences or games developer conferences. Is Italy also like that? Does it have a lot of support right now for the games industries, especially for maybe an indie studio?
The situation is got better in the last few years.
Right. And
we surely do a good amount of gaming conventions where indie developers can show their game. There are really a good amount of them, and there are more and more gaming conventions, but sometimes they are really more comic books conventions, more anime fans conventions, where the indie can get a little spot. So it's really a mixed bag of comics, games. There are not much of only gaming conventions. There is the Games Week in Milan, which is a big only gaming convention, and we were at the Games Week, the last Games Week, and that one is pretty big, and I think it's a gaming convention that can in some way be like the Great American Gaming Convention. Anyway, there are a lot of events, but you you said about fundings from the government, and that era in Italy, it's really, it's not so it's not so important. It's not so good. How can I say it? There are no great funding programs in Italy. Something is starting to moving, but they are really tricky, full of paperwork. We are kind of out of these logics. Our game is not good for this. They are programs that they are often aimed to games that has a content which can how can I say, which can promote Italy, like, a game in Italy, a game set in Florence, in Milan, so everyone can see how beautiful Milan is. But it's not good for a classic shoot 'em up. We are really off this kind of funding programs. They are just for people
that show off what Italy is.
Developers.
Right. So do you have like local game developer meetings or local workshops, like small ones? Do you have that?
Local what?
Local game developer meetings, local game developer workshops. Really small ones.
There are a lot of them.
Okay.
Meetings, conventions, workshop. There are a lot of them. As I said, often they are mixed with comic books or other things. But you can keep really a touring schedule, like a band, like a. You can really. There's kind of one a month. If you want to do it all, you can get a tour bus and you can go all in the place, all in the Italy, and getting a lot of tour dates. But as I said, not every meeting is just about indie gaming. They are more of a mixed bag.
Right. Okay. So that's it. Thank you very much for joining me, Luca and Dario.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you guys, thank you for your time. And if you guys want to know more about their game, Xydonia, I'll have a bunch of links at the bottom in the description. You know where to find them. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and listening, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much to Breaking Bytes Games for their time as well.